Hey folks, how's it going? This is Seagull here, back with another Sims Info and Thoughts video. So this one is focused on the newly announced Tiny Living Stuff Pack. There's some new images to go through, as well as a blog post, key features, and some tweets. So let's get started. The key features of the Stuff Pack were also revealed on the EA website, so we'll go through those first. So it starts off with Build Your Small Space. Downsize your Sims' dwellings with this brand new never-before-created residential lot that provides fun-sized challenges and unique benefits to your Sims when they meet the tiny home requirements. So it looks like that is what that trailer was illustrating, where they had like 120 tiles and it was red, and then they went back to 100 tiles and then it was perfect. And then there's Maximize Your Mini. Make the most of your Sims' space with the Murphy Bed Combo. This medium-sized furniture combo comes with a 2-seat love seat attached to a large storage compartment. I forgot to mention that in the reaction video, but yeah, that is pretty cool that the Murphy bed this time is not just a Murphy bed, but it is also a couch. After that, we have Keep It Cozy. Customize your Sims' tiny homes with space-saving combo objects like the all-in-one stereo, TV, and bookshelf, and sleek furniture with a pop of color. I'm pretty excited that we're getting all-in-one objects, because I think those will be applicable to basically the whole game, not just for when you're trying to build a house that's as tiny as possible. Because, specifically in the case of an all-in-one stereo, TV, and bookshelf, those just make sense to me to have as one single object too, not always separately. Then the last point says, stay snug in style. Outfit your Sims in comfy new Create a Sim items, like a dress shirt or turtleneck, that represent their low-key lifestyle. I was saying this in the reaction video too, but even though this stuff pack is obviously targeted at builders, I think there are some pretty good Create a Sim items here too, and I think it might actually match pretty well with the knitting stuff pack that we're supposed to be getting, since that's what won the community stuff pack vote. Next, we're going to go over those new screenshots. Thank you to EA for sending me the high quality versions of these. So this first one here is pretty nice. We got this home setup here with the Murphy bed, and you got a Sim in the process of unfolding it. And then you got a couple of other Sims just talking about being eco-friendly, I guess, because it does kind of seem like, we'll get more into this when we get into the blog post, but it seems like part of the idea of this stuff pack is also reducing your carbon footprint. But overall, I'm liking all of the new content that I'm seeing in this screenshot, like the hanging plant right by the door. I think the door is new as well. And also the dresser, I'm pretty sure, that is next to the one-tiled desk. That is new with the new chair. And the candles, I can't remember if those are new or if they're part of a base game object. And I'm loving all of the clothing that I can see as well. I also think that painting in the background is pretty cute. It does kind of remind me of Tumblr and Pinterest and tiny homes, and I hope that with different swatches of the painting there could even be different designs, because we have had that before where it's not just, oh, the same painting in different colors or different color frames, but with the design of the painting itself also changing so that it could be like a different flower instead of it just being the same flower but recolored in purple or red or green. Then moving on to this next screenshot, the Sims are more the focus of this one, and yes, just that sweater that the woman in the foreground is wearing. I love that so much, and I think that would actually be really great for cold weather wear with seasons as well. And I also like the outfit that the guy beside her is wearing with the pine tree on the t-shirt underneath. Just, yes, that's so me. I love that. And I'm pretty sure his hairstyle is new too. And then you can also see there's a sweater dress that the woman on the very left is wearing. I like that too, and hopefully there are some different designs for that too, not just the stripes. I'm not sure if the guy going down the stairs is wearing anything new. I think the pants are new, and we might or might not have that shirt already. I feel like I've seen it before somewhere, so I'm not 100% on that. And there are still some new objects. Like, there are some more paintings, and there's some new ceiling lights. And it looks like they are clumped together, or it's like 3 ceiling lights clumped together as one, and I wish we could have them separately. Maybe they are, because we don't actually have the stuff pack yet, so maybe I'm wrong about that, but it would be nice if there was a separated option for them too. Kind of like how with Jungle Adventure there were those 3 plants that were combined, and then James Turner complained about them, and then they separated them in a patch later so that you have the option of having them all together, or you can place them individually. It's also worth pointing out that we can see one of the versions of the multi-purpose TV unit by the woman wearing the sweater dress. This is my least favorite out of the 2. I like the other one a lot, but this one is just, yeah, it's okay, I guess, but I imagine myself using the other one a lot more. Then we got one more screenshot, which is kind of like an overview of a tiny home. And looks like I was actually right saying earlier that there are different designs for that flower painting, because those paintings of the animals on the left-hand side, it looks like they are the same size as that flower painting, but then they just have the colors and the design change. So that is nice. I wonder how many swatches of this painting there are. But the thing that actually stands out to me the most about this screenshot is you can see the multi-purpose TV unit in action, because you can see that they are watching a cooking show, but there's also some musical notes coming out of the stereo. So if you want to have some hip-hop music going the same time as your cooking show, yeah, you can totally do that if you want. I also love the new clutter that can be seen here. I think this could end up being a good pack for clutter, hopefully. And I also love the bar stool chairs with a table that matches the bar stool height. I don't think that's something we normally get in The Sims 4, so it is pretty nice when even the stuff packs can do some different things with their objects. Not just the ones that provide new gameplay, but also the ones that are just to change up your furnishing styles a little bit. Now let's move on to the blog post. So it starts off saying, everyone knows tiny living is more than just a trend right now. It's a movement. It's ecological, less expensive, and infinitely cozier than living large. Wow, the Sims Living Large has entered the chat, and it's time for your Sims to celebrate this lifestyle in style. That's why we're introducing the amazing The Sims 4 Tiny Living Stuff Pack. Small houses, big dreams. Challenge yourself to build in a greatly reduced footprint of 100 tiles with a tiny home residential lot to receive special bonuses for your Sims. In addition to friendlier builds, smaller spaces are good for encouraging relationships to bloom, and you'll have plenty of leftover yard space for a garden. Compete with your friends to build a cuter, smaller home for the ultimate bragging rights. So this is what I was talking about earlier when I was saying that it seems part of the point of making a tiny home is to also reduce your carbon footprint, because you also have the bonus of friendlier bills and just reducing the footprint of your house with the smaller size of it and having it only being a certain amount of tiles as well. So that's the vibe that I'm getting here. It could actually match up pretty well with island living. Just have a tiny home on an island, maybe even put in the off-the-grid lot trait if you want, because I can definitely imagine tiny homes and off-the-grid living going together. Moving on to the next part of the blog here, let's talk Murphy beds. You asked for it and we're delivering. Say hello to the Murphy bed. Engage in shenanigans aplenty with this multifunctional space saver. Just make sure your Sims don't get trapped when they're putting it away. Luckily, it leaves you tons of room for activities, and when paired with the bookshelf, stereo, TV combo object, the possibilities are endless. Yeah, Murphy beds are definitely something that I've seen a lot of requests for over the years. And I know there are going to be comments saying this should have been in Discovery University. But the reason I was not super salty over Murphy beds not being in that expansion pack is because I've never seen Murphy beds in a dorm setting or just a university sort of setting in general on campus. So it's not something that I necessarily tie to a university experience. I think if anything, Murphy beds we should have got with city living. So I don't think it's quite a My First Pet Stuff sort of situation, because My First Pet Stuff came out just a few months after Cats and Dogs, and it seems just oddly suspicious that there's objects in My First Pet Stuff that look like they were just held over from Cats and Dogs, where City Living came out in 2016, so I think it'd be a huge stretch to think that they held on to specifically Murphy beds for almost 4 years just to put into a stuff pack. And the general impression that I'm getting on this pack is more capitalizing on the tiny home trend instead of trying to cash in on a previous expansion pack that came out that was popular. But getting back to the blog post, the next part says, "We're kidding around." That's such a bad pun. That's so bad. They probably just really wanted to tie this in with the fact that we are getting a knitting stuff pack, but it says expect a bevy of comfortable new Create a Sim items, including chunky knits for the ultimate indulgence in sweater weather. Your Sims will be snug as a bug in these cozy clothes and accessories. Maybe even a little too snug. It sounds slightly ominous with the little too snug part. Is there not just death by Murphy bed, but also death by clothing that's too tight? Yeah. Obviously that's just a joke, but if they really did put that death in The Sims eventually, I don't think it would be too far-fetched considering some of the more bizarre deaths that we've had in the past. The last part of their blog is mostly plugging their social media, but it does mention that Tiny Living is releasing on PC and Mac on January 21st and on consoles on February 4th, 2020. And that is pretty good that the console versions are coming out only a couple weeks later, because usually it's about a month. So maybe it's because it is a stuff pack, so there's less stuff to port over this time around, so they were able to get a bit more of a jump. But also, they do mention in brackets the 20th anniversary of The Sims, so it looks like the stuff pack is going to be, well, hopefully one of more things to celebrate the 20th anniversary of this franchise. It does kind of remind me of how High-End Loft stuff ended up coming out, I believe, for the 10th anniversary of The Sims. Yeah, that's right, it was for the 10th anniversary, so that's a pretty nice thing too. But now we move on to Twitter, starting off with SimGuru Ninja's profile, because now he has updated his SimSelf icon and his header. So starting off with his icon, now his Sim is rocking a different hairstyle, as well as a jacket while doing the animation for when you choose the paranoid trait from Strangerville. And I'm liking the Create a Sim item so far, and I feel like it is kind of continuing off in a way from Discovery University, just in the sense that I think the men are finally being done justice in terms of Create a Sim, because I feel like not just The Sims 4, but The Sims in general does tend to lean more towards the feminine fashion, but yeah, it is good to get some good masculine fashion as well. And then with his header, it is pretty simple, but it does give us a really good look at two of the new objects in Tiny Living. So there is the poof chair, and I like this a lot. I love the one that we got in Movie Hangout stuff, but that one is more round, while this one is square. And I know there are going to be at least two different designs for this one, because you have this more kind of like basic one, I guess you can say. But I did see, and think it was in the trailer, there was one with stripes on it. And there is also the couch, which I think is going to match with what we got with Bowling Night stuff very well. And yeah, I like it. I love mid-century stuff in The Sims. It's one of my favorite furniture themes. There's also a few tweets to go over. So when Spring Sims said, "Is there a new death with this new stuff pack?" asking for a friend. And SimGuru Ninja replies saying, "We brought back the Murphy bed. Be a shame if it couldn't kill you." And then Miss Shasha asked, "This has always been my love-hate relationship with the Murphy beds. Love the look, space-saving, all of that. But going to bed is one place my Sim shouldn't have to worry about dying. Getting hurt? Abso-freaking-lutely. But die? Meh, not so much." And SimGuru Ninja replies saying, "Fear not, we've given you ways to protect yourself." And Anouk says, "So, let me guess, we got updated so that it won't flip back while also improving our handiness skill?" And then SimGuru Ninja says something like that. Yeah, I actually feel that a lot. That's a reason why I haven't used Murphy beds all that much in The Sims 2 or The Sims 3, because even though I can't remember how big the risk was in The Sims 2, but I think in The Sims 3 the risk was still pretty small, but I was still like, kind of nervous about using them because I was still worried that my luck would be bad enough for it to still happen to my Sims, and then having my Sims die off unexpectedly, and most of the time I don't like killing my Sims, so I would not be good with that. But this sounds like a really good thing that would appeal to all of us, where it's like, if you don't want your Sims to be killed by the Murphy bed, just upgrade it. And if you want your Sims to have that risk of dying, then just don't upgrade it. So yeah, that's pretty good all around. Usually for situations like these, I would have to download a mod, but I think it is a lot better, not just for console players, but just to have an option that is more organic to the gameplay rather than just having something that works as an on or off switch. We also have a little bit more info as to what and what does not count against the tile count with Tiny Living. So William asked, 100 tiles, is that the maximum number of tiles for the whole lot? Or just the footprint? Does that include outdoor living like decks and such, or just under roof? SimGuru Ninja replies saying, our upcoming livestream will make this very clear, but I'll try and answer without being too confusing. The tiles counting against your tiny home is basically the footprint, so each level of flooring, outdoor decks, etc. all will count towards your tile limit. And he also says decks are included towards the tile count, but things like pools, outdoor placed objects, terrain paint, and floor paints do not count. I guess this does make sense. I wouldn't want to be penalized just because I used a certain amount of terrain paint. And it would make sense to me to focus more on the house itself instead of stuff like the pool that may be nearby it. Overall, this stuff pack has me intrigued and wanting to see more. Already I am wishing that this was the stuff pack that ended the 1.5 year long break from stuff packs that ended with Moschino, because the Moschino stuff pack was the pack where I think those "nobody asked for this" comments were 100% accurate. Whereas tiny homes, I've noticed, are pretty popular with Simmers, and I think in general would have been a better comeback than a luxury brand clothing deal. And that wraps up another Sims Info and Thoughts video. So feel free to let me know your thoughts on tiny living stuff so far, and be sure to subscribe if you want to keep up with my latest content from The Sims, Sonic the Hedgehog, and more. So I will talk to you all later, and have a great day. Thanks for watching!